Good morning, everybody. It's the sixth episode of the Multi-Gen Blueprint. Marton riding solo today as Richard Ensing was not able to make it today, but the show must go on. So we're going to kind of spend some time here, probably 20 to 30 minutes today, kind of chatting about some of the things that I've noticed, some questions that I have heard from my time in the industry. And if there's anything that you guys kind of want me to talk about as we move forward here, please feel free to throw a comment here on the live stream, and I'm happy to go over something. It can be a specific topic. It can be a property. If there is a property question that you have, I am happy to kind of go and look over it live here. Just everything multi-gen living, because that's what the multi-gen blueprint is Richard and I talk about all things multi-gen living, potential projects related to small-scale multi-unit housing. That's what we like to kind of look at. So, of course, I got my coffee because everybody needs a little bit of coffee on a Saturday morning. And as well, I also wanted to put a quick apology to everybody who might have wanted to tune in at 8 a.m. There was a little bit of technical difficulties on my end. I've got it fixed, and so now we are good to roll here. So things are good. It's been a fun week here. A little bit about myself and my family. The little one has decided that he wants to run around the house now, so that has been a challenge for us as we continue to put ourselves in a position where we need to be in shape. It's not a whole lot else to say there. He's getting much faster. It's every day. Anybody who's watching who has young ones of their own that are in that 12 to 18 month range, they probably know what I'm talking about. Things change every hour, it seems, and so nothing has changed on our end as well as the little one continues to adapt and put us in position where we gotta continue to be better as well. So and then behind me, my wife's got her own balloon decorating business. It's called Marton Events. So if anybody needs balloon decoration, you should absolutely go and check her out. This is a little bit of a sneak preview of the job that she's got coming up, and it looks pretty terrific. Actually, I've been told it's just one job, and she's giving me grief for it. So, but it's pretty incredible. I'm not that creative to do something like that. So if you've got any questions about wanting balloons for your event, whether that be birthdays, weddings, get-togethers, reach out to her. Reach out to Marton Events. She's got her Instagram page up, TikTok page up, and set up your event. She is, in fact, looking fast. So a little shameless plug to her business, and I will do that wherever I can. And as we kind of continue along here on this episode, one of the questions that I got over the course of my professional work last week is I had a call from another realtor. Him and I are on good terms, and he reached out. He was like, Cole, I've got a client that's looking for an acreage property for multi-generational living, and could you take a look at what I've got here and kind of help out? I was like, absolutely. And so we looked into it here, and now I'm not going to show the property just because it is one that they are looking at, and so out of respect for the realtor and for his clients. But one of the things that we noticed right away, and we've talked about it on prior episodes in the past, me and Richard, is this property was an ALR. And anything, in my experience, that is in ALR for multi-gen living, you just want to avoid. The reason for that is that ALR is a lot more strict on what you can put onto those properties. And most ALR properties don't even fall within the urban containment boundary of the municipality that you're looking at for small-scale multi-unit housing. And there is a lot of provisions that ALR, they will not allow past 3 units. And those 3 units have to be a principal residence, secondary suite, and then a coach house or a garden suite. And it has to be 1 floor of living for that coach house or garden suite. And those are in the Agricultural Land Commission bylaw, which will supersede the city bylaw wherever the property is located until there is something that is missed by the ALC bylaw, the city bylaw. And so that's just a quick rundown here. And the reason why I bring that up is because this, this realtor, his clients, they want to build multiple homes for the kids, for the brother and sister. And you're not going to be able to do that in ALR if there's already a property or a house on that property, right? And so, and you're limited by how big the second unit can be based off of the ALC bylaws, which in my experiences have been under 968 square feet. Now, of course, you can always go and check the city. Maybe there's been some changes. But that, in my experience, you really got about 950 to 970 square footage space that you can use for your garden suite. I don't know if that's enough. Just being perfectly honest. So we had a conversation. We had kind of discussed because the clients are looking for something, and when I kind of told him, and this is going to kind of relate back to the basics of small scale multi-unit housing, which we've touched on a lot, but it's nice that this came up as an actual question in my line of work. And what that was is, hey, they might want to build more than just one house in the future. They might want to have 3 units on their property. What would you say? And it's an easy answer here. You're looking for the property to be within whatever municipal county boundary they're in, whether that's Vancouver's urban containment boundary, or maybe it's Ridges, or maybe it's Abbotsford, or maybe it's Surrey's, whichever one for that bylaw, for that city. You want it to be serviced by the city, so city water, city sewer, city stormwater, and you want it to be an acre or less. So if you want lots of land, go half acre, go acre, but stay within the boundary, because that will allow you to not have to rezone or subdivide if you want to have it. And so had that conversation with the realtor. It was about a 20-minute conversation. At the end of the day, I'll kind of keep some people updated on that because it was a realtor who had a good relationship with his clients, and I would never want to take clients. I'm always happy to help, though. And maybe I'll see if I can get an update from him on whether or not they find something that works for them. But that was one of the questions that I had for my time in profession. Another one that I had, client and I are going to be looking at some properties that are kind of a mix of different styles. And one that we looked at was a property that can have 6 units. And then there's 2 properties that combine. I think I've looked at them before on the show. So again, I will wait now because there is a client that's interested. But what we're going to look to see, and something that I'll maybe update, and this isn't me specifically, is if townhouses will count for urban infill. And if townhouses will count for urban infill, a ton of properties are going to see their potential increase. Because being able to put 4 townhomes on a certain lot might make a lot of sense due to the size restriction that you're going to see on properties that are, that aren't over 9,000 square feet. And so that was something that I had noticed. We'll see kind of what comes of it as I do my showings. I'm very excited to do my showings on middle of next week. Hoping to have an update on that process by next episode 7, as we hit lucky number 7. Hopefully Richard will be back for that one. So pretty excited to see kind of what's going on and how everything's going. It's been a fun one here. Already almost 10 minutes in to the 6th episode of the Multi-Gen Blueprint. Again, Cole Marton riding solo. Richard Ensing was not able to be here today, but he said that, if you want to go for it, you got to go for it. And we had already posted that the episode was going to go live, and so we had to go, it's just what we do. But not for too much longer. Today it's going to be a bit of a shorter episode just because it's just me, and I don't know how many people want to listen to me yap for an hour. I know my wife doesn't want to listen to me yap for an hour all the time, so give you all a break not a whole lot else here as we move along. Can maybe showcase a property that I've looked at in Maple Ridge. I like looking at Maple Ridge. That's kind of my area of expertise. I've looked at some other areas as well, but kind of focusing on where I'm based out of, and anywhere. Normally, if Richard or someone has a property, I'm able to kind of look there as well. If you've got a property you want me to look at here and you're tuning in, please feel free to let me know. I'm more than happy to take a look at something while we're live on air. Now, Richard has an awesome website for finding properties that already have coach houses on them. So if you wanted to go take a look at that, you absolutely could. The one that I'm going to look at today, and we're going to look at one here. No, that's outside the boundary. I know. We'll do this one. Okay, let me just find it here really, really quick for everybody, and thank you all for your patience as we continue along. Grace. Audience here. Cliff. It's a little bit more difficult running these with no co-host while we search for some stuff. That's okay. There we go. I was a little off from where I was looking, but I had the right. So what we're doing here we're going to go look at just make sure take it on the other side. There it is. All righty. Took a little bit of time, but we found it. And so what we're looking at today, kind of looking around just east of 232nd. There were a couple that I've seen a couple places around this area. So I wanted to look at kind of this house as a particular. And the reason why I wanted to look at it is because the lots are much bigger. But even though they're bigger, one of the problems that you're going to run into if you wanted to do 4 homes on a property that weren't attached is that you've got a little too much, or a little too less width or frontage. So what frontage is right here. It's from the front of the property towards the street, and it goes from kind of from the top to the bottom, right? So as we, I'm going to see if I can do a little bit of a sketch here. It's loading right there. What I mean by that is like, so maybe we'll kind of go back here. We'll look right there. Your front to do what you really want to do. So you're looking at about 21 and a half meters, right? Well, your problem with a property that is big enough for four houses, if it was laid out a little differently, is that without a lane, how are you going to get a road that goes all the way through? Maybe the things that for infill housing specifically, you're going to have to think about. And so because the property doesn't look like it's going to be big enough to do house to get a road through, you got to be a little bit creative here. So this might be one where you do two that are detached, maybe a duplex. Maybe you do just four townhouses that go all the way across, have a road, each have a garage. If they are allowed as well, you've got to check with the city and make sure that it's allowed. Because I've heard conflicting things on whether townhouses allow for urban infill. Bylaw, it made mention to that it was. You're going to have to think about that. However, if you look at this property as well, like you might just want to rent out the house, keep the backyard. Or add just a. Well, the problem is that it's hard to like. They're gonna have to like walk through here or walk through here. So not as easy now. A lot of basement suites you have to walk around walls, so having its own little garden suite here in the back might be good. There might not be an issue. Maybe you do two garden suites if you just want to have family living there. You can absolutely do that, and then you just extend your parking right around here. That is something that you could look at doing, right? And you can live with a lot of these places here, right? Like this one, they've got two car spots. They've got a lane here, so you can maybe put a house back here. You've got parking all the way. You've got the main house. This one, it looks like that's exactly what they did. They got the coach house in the backyard here, which is what you can do. You've got the main house here. You've got your driveway. So you see examples of what can happen even on the street. And I think that that's a good thing to be able to see the differences. This one, very well maintained yard from the look of it. You could take off this fence if you wanted to at a house in the backyard, go all the way up. So these are the different things that you have at your disposal. And it would help if I showcased it to the stage. So really, really quick, we'll showcase it to the stage. So what was I just talking about here? So quick little recap, taking it away from podcast style. So I cut the front of the property as we go back. 6.5 meters. I don't because it's to the aerial view. Enough room for a road to go into the park. And if you can't do that, your project's kind of probably going down the toilet. So you got to be a little creative if you want to tear this down and different things. So what I said is you maybe house duplex. Maybe you do 4 townhouses if those are allowed. It really does depend on the city and how they interpret their bylaws. But what I was talking about is if you look up a couple of houses later, coach house or a garage, right in the back with 2 entrances on that property with the main house. So that's an easy way to add a coach house. If you've got 2 family members that want to jump in and they don't need a ton of space, and you've got the same thing here, you've got a main driveway and then you've got another building in the back. That could be a coach house spot. Right here, this, if it's a shed, but this could be a coach house spot with a big driveway to go all the way. Lots of space here. You can take this fence down, go all the way to the coach house. So even on the street, you can see that there's lots of opportunities depending on what somebody wants to do, right? And at the end of the day, that's kind of what I tell people is if you have a lot of stuff that you want to do, absolutely go ahead and do it. We're going to take that off of the share screen now. This has been a 20-minute episode, and so I think I'm going to wrap it up here and help out around the house because my little one is being a destructive little menace, even though he's got the happiest smile on his face. And so I want to thank everybody for tuning in. It is a shorter episode today. I do really appreciate it. Episode 7, we should be back to normal programming. Richard's going to be jumping on. We'll continue on with what we talked about. We've got more properties that we're going to want to show, and hopefully a little less technical difficulties. But I've been Cole Marton. It's been an absolute pleasure chatting with you all. If anybody has any questions that they want me to answer, you can feel free to shoot me a text or email the info email account, and we'll get to you. And have a great day, everybody. Thanks so much for tuning in.